40% of all high school seniors have tried some illicit drug before graduation. And the latest Gallup poll on alcoholism states that the average age kids begin drinking is 13. Moreover, 1/3 of all alcoholics are teenagers.
And I think when I found out that was available, I took to that and I started to get involved in that kind of lifestyle.
John Ellison looks back on his teenage years with regret over a lot of wasted time. He started out well, traveled in a popular crowd, got involved in school sports, and worked hard at his dad's bakery. But early on, he succumbed to peer pressure and began experimenting with drugs. By the time he was 16, John was hooked.
I think that every day going to school, my junior year of high school, I needed to be high on something, whether it was LSD, PCP, acid. Every day I needed to have something, whether we would get a bottle of vodka and drink it together before school. I had to be high going to school. That was just the norm at the time.
His parents tried to help him by sending him to a teen rehab center out of state. But after 2 weeks, John hitchhiked home. Soon after, he ran a stop sign while out looking for someone to sell him drugs. As a result, several people lost their lives. But even though John says the accident did affect his life, it did not do enough to change it.
So I guess on one side of me, I did want to stop, but it was too out of control at the time that I think that I was getting worse then, because I no longer felt accepted in certain circles in my high school, among certain peoples. So I was even driven further to look for other types of friends and things like that.
Out of high school, John began working the overnight shift at his father's bakery. When he got off work in the morning, he'd head for a bar that he knew served minors. But it was at this bar that John got a little more than he bargained for.
The only problem was every day when I go in there, there would be an old man sitting there. He must have been 80, 85 years old, and he was watching the 700 Club. And I'd be sitting there trying to have a good time, and then there would be some gentleman on the TV up on the top there talking about how the Lord can touch your life. And I didn't need to hear that at that time. I was running away from that lifestyle. So I tried to ignore it, but it was wearing on me.
Soon John was watching the 700 Club at home, too. Secretly, of course, so his buddies wouldn't know. And as he watched, he found hope in the personal testimonies of people just like him.
They were talking about hurts like I had. They were talking about lifestyle changes that I desperately needed. And then I began to relate a little more in a practical way. And I started thinking, yeah, I think I can make it also. When I didn't think there was any hope, I now knew that there can be hope for me.
Hope was jolted into reality through another car accident, the 6th in 5 years. As he stepped from the wreckage, unhurt, John knew it was time to stop running from God.
And I knew that it was only God's grace that was keeping me safe. And I knew that he would definitely had a plan for my life, and he was calling me to himself. This last time when I totaled the car, I got out of it, and I just raised my hands. There was all people around. I just said, all right, I surrender.
And as John did surrender his life to Jesus Christ, everything became new.
From that time on, though we still have difficulties, there was something that happened there. And the burden wasn't as great. The things that seemed to grip my life seemed to be set free.
John was indeed free. The drugs and alcohol were a thing of the past, and the resurrection power of Jesus Christ erased the pain of his past.
He means life, hope. He means that I now can live a life of peace and have new direction. He means a lot to me.
He means a lot to me. God means a lot to me. One life that had been caught in that spiral that so many young people find themselves in. And in our modern society, it comes even earlier than any of us, perhaps those of us watching this program, can ever imagine. We all remember the